The chakra system has been the means of raising the vibratory rate of humanity as a whole in a controlled manner. Tuning the chakras can be done by using the 7-tone scale of C to tune each of the 7 main chakras in the human body, with the final octave higher C for the 8th chakra. If someone wants to achieve a certain goal in a predetermined time period, they can be taught to activate the chakras to give the needed energy to accomplish this. When the goal is accomplished, they would then reset their bodies to the tuning they chose to work through. Depression can be overcome by this method, procrastination can be overcome, and also resentment and jealousy. All bad attitudes can be helped by temporarily retuning the chakras. Tuning the chakras will give understanding along with feeling, which will teach control of emotions and actions and reactions. The abilities of all stages of all chakras are readily available to everyone through musical tuning, but must not be used indiscriminately. Those whose chakras are all equally balanced are successful in healing. None will ever become great prophets or great psychics or great healers because of this balance, because one of the chakras must be stronger than the others to become great in any one area: the crown for prophets, the third eye for psychics, and the solar plexus for healers. We need to understand that the openings of the different levels of the chakras are tied into the physical life and the events that take place there. These chakras will open one level at a time, and when that energy is fully incorporated into the daily life, then and only then will the next level open. They are actually a part of the aging process in humanity. They temper the changing world and lifestyle of each one and allows them to mellow and grow gracefully. There is a whole field of work with the chakras that can be opened up. They truly are our connection with our inner being and are the single most important gift from our Creator to help us synthesize the body and soul. It was planned that the chakras be the link between the seen and the unseen worlds. The opening of chakras is a field of study that needs to be introduced into the medical field. Much medical expense can be saved if the person knows what is going on and knows things he can do to ease and help the movement of the energy, the chakra energy in all the centers of the body. It has never been documented as a full-fledged field of medicine, but it should be. There is always physical discomfort when a major change to the form takes place, and this is what the opening of a chakra is, a major change. Every disease known to man can be traced to the opening of a chakra in some area of the body. The reason it becomes a disease is because the energy was not ever smoothed and manipulated and allowed to flow in a serene manner into the newly opened chakra. This is a picture taken of me about 30 years ago to be used on the cover of the first book I published, Truths of Man's Divine Heritage. We took about 5 different poses, and they all had these dark lines across them. We finally realized the dark lines were showing the energy of my chakras. There was nothing in the room that would have caused the lines. We were using a cheap Polaroid camera, the kind that spits the picture out at you after a minute or so. That's why it's so amazing that it was able to show the concentration of energy in the chakras. Being a musician exposed to music most of the time, I believe my chakras are more in tune than those of most people. Also, I've been given a way to tune them, and I go through the process every evening at bedtime. There has been so much published about the chakras that I'm just going to touch on each of them for a minute and move on to explain the 12 different levels of each chakra that can be musically tuned, starting with the root chakra, the kundalini, and showing the details of each stage for each particular chakra. Chakra number 1, the kundalini, the tone of C. The chakras are simply energy centers, storehouses for the vibrating atoms, the first stirrings of life in the cosmos. In the beginning, it was simply the air that played around and lifted grains of sand which had crumbled off the pristine rock surfaces and placed them down in the ground near water. This caused a chemical reaction between the minerals in the soil and the algae in the water. This gave birth to the botanical kingdom and provided a form for this energy to be embedded in. The root chakra, the first chakra, was the first bundle of energy to be embodied in a manifested form in physical matter in the botanical kingdom. The kundalini was the only chakra in the early life forms. Level 1, the tone of middle C. The first level of tuning the root chakra will be the knowing or sensing of survival of the fittest traits, the struggle of the amoeba right on up to the aboriginal tribes today. The struggle of sperm at conception and the conditions the fetus has to overcome is still the survival of the fittest. Level 2, the tone of D. The second level of tuning the root chakra is in the ability to respond to nature, to the feel of the wind, the beauty of the sky, the heat of the sun, the majesty of a storm, the magic of the night sky, the beauty of rocks and rivers, everything that is part of the unchangeable earth. Level 3, tone of E. Level 3 in the root chakra is that which relates to the animal kingdom. This level will be found to be the strongest level in those working with animals in veterinary medicine, in zoos, on research assignments, or working for animal rights. Level 4, the tone of F. The fourth level of the root chakra will be an immediate and strong response to other human beings. A feeling of oneness with all would be an ideal reaction for this fourth level. Level 5, the tone of G. The fifth level of tuning for the root chakra would be the will to work together with others, cooperation, being a team player. If there is one who is not willing to do this, a tuning up of this level would help the situation. Level 6. The sixth level of tuning would give one the power to plan major tasks and projects. Level 7. The seventh level would ensure these projects being carried out. Level 8. High C. The eighth level of the root chakra would give the power and will to lead large groups of people in whatever endeavor one wishes to pursue. This is where the danger for acquiring deep personal karma comes in. None should have this level tuned up tight. Chakra number 2, the sacral plexus, the tone of D. The root chakra was not needed in the animals that were to follow into the human kingdom, and it was sealed over. The bundle of energy was then embedded in the second chakra, the sacral plexus, to ensure survival of the race. It was pure instinct to mate sexually with any of the opposite sex. This was true of both male and female, but there were inborn controls in the female, those of the cycles of the menses, which were timed into the ebb and tides of the sea, and were caused by the lunar pole. Therefore, the effect of the moon was part of the sexual makeup of humanity from the very beginning of time. Level 1, the tone of C. The first level of the sacral plexus is the urge to reproduce the human race. Level 2, tone of D. The second level is a strong pull of lunar activity and its effect on our sexual actions. Level 3, the tone of E. The third level relates to our urge to masturbate. The fourth level, the tone of F. The fourth level gets into the realm of exploring sexual practices with many other people, looking for an ultimate experience. Level 5, the tone of G. The fifth level was a sexual act with all thought being focused on the feeling we had for the sexual partner. This fifth level chakra activity is a direct tying together of the sacral plexus, the second chakra, and the conscience of man, the fourth chakra, which is where the teachings in the Bible came in and brought into being the institution of marriage. The sixth level, the tone of A. Sixth level sexual behavior has again moved out of expressing with and through others and is into experiencing within your own synthesized mind, body, and spirit the ultimate feeling of orgasms throughout every cell. Seventh level, tone of B. Seventh level experience is that of combining fifth and sixth level experience at the same time with the same partner for the ultimate sexual experience possible on the earth plane today. This would mean that the two people involved would both have to be at the same level of progress in all chakra areas. The eighth level, the tone of high C. The eighth level of the sacral plexus is a spontaneous happening of all the other experiences taking place, controlled by the mind, induced by the mind at appropriate times as communion with the God within. In other words, deliberate, spontaneous orgasms physically, cellularly, and mentally. This is the meaning of the word rapture. Chakra number 3, the solar plexus, the tone of E. The third chakra, the solar plexus, came into being gradually. This third center, which was the sensing of others' thoughts, developed as primitive man felt a definite need for communication with his own kind to differentiate between themselves and the animals. It was a very slow development as the energy of the second chakra was not closed off. It had to be kept, so it was necessary to grow and build and develop this third chakra or energy center from scratch. The third chakra, the solar plexus, is that which allows the human being the freedom of expressing differences from each other. Without this chakra, everything was identical as far as actions. There were no individual reactions, no initiative taken, nothing to differentiate one living form from another. The first level, the tone of C. Therefore, the first level of the solar plexus is a capacity for individualism. This is inborn within every human form. As with all inborn abilities, some access this level more than others. Second level, the tone of D. The second level of this chakra is the sensing of the difference between each human form. This gives the knowingness or sensing whether another human being is operating on your wavelength or not. It should be the immediate gut reaction we get when first meeting someone and should form the basis of all our friendships and relationships. The third level, the tone of E. The third level of the solar plexus is the ability to be aware that we are all of the same origin, both through physical evolution and spiritual evolution, although basically this third chakra is not thoroughly aware of spiritual teachings. The fourth level, the tone of F. The fourth level of the solar plexus is when the awareness of being able to manipulate others comes in, a knowingness of others according to vibrational sensing. Those with a more advanced level of tuning of this chakra will be able to take advantage of those with a lower tuning. This is basically what took place in Atlantis. The fifth level, the tone of G. The fifth level of the solar plexus is the beginning ability of reading the thoughts in others' minds, not just a sensing of instinctual behavior. This level progressed and grew right along with the capacity of the brain to think. So this is an ability that is directly tied to intelligence rather than being equal in all. The sixth level, the tone of A. Level 6 of the solar plexus is what brings the use of discrimination into play as far as the usage of the abilities this chakra gave the human form. Those with this level strongly tuned quickly learned when the use of the psychic ability was being used wrongly and gravitated away from those using it unwisely and sought out his own kind as far as groups. The seventh level, the tone of B. The seventh level then allows the usage of these abilities to help others in a wise manner. The seat of psychic ability is definitely located in this chakra, the solar plexus. Most of the higher levels of this chakra have to do with healing. Level 7, as given, is used to help others, mainly with advice. The 8th level, tone of high C. Level 8 allows the tapping into the Akashic records for past life influences. Chakra number 4, the heart chakra, the tone of F. This stage was followed more quickly by the addition of the heart chakra at the same time that these simple creatures developed a conscience, a need to feel responsible for their actions against others. This heart chakra was a quickly developing one as it became urgently necessary to keep the cavemen from destroying each other. Thus the animal began to have feelings and emotions to deal with in connection with his instincts. The third center, the solar plexus, was not deliberately closed off, but fell into disuse due to the heavy activity of the second and fourth centers. The first level, tone of C. The first level of the heart chakra is that of being aware that we are only half of our beingness that is on the earth. This is the cause of the terrible feelings of loneliness that all experience, and the feeling of incompleteness that we all have until we have progressed spiritually to the point of finding our God within. The second level, a tone of D. The second level of the heart chakra is that which causes a knowingness that there is help or an answer as to why we feel this way. Without the second chakra, the first would be unbearable. Anyone with suicidal tendencies due to feeling alone could be helped by a tuning of this second level. The third level, the tone of E. The third level of tuning is an acknowledgement of a higher authority figure in whom we trust and to whom we pray. In early man, this took many forms, and the outgrowth was a belief in a fatherly figure on high known as God. With this level of tuning came all or most of our hang-ups and guilt, which have wreaked havoc with the spirit's progress. The fourth level, the tone of F. The fourth level of the heart chakra is a realization that God will be found inside our own mind. The opening of the fourth level is a long process. As a person flows with the new energy and the feelings it brings, he will be less demanding of the attention of others and able to let go of his children and allow them their independence. The fifth level, the tone of G. The fifth level of tuning of the heart chakra is that of being able to be in constant communication with the other half of our soul for guidance. This is manifested as a conscience and is called the Christ consciousness mistakenly. The sixth level, the tone of A. This leads to individual consciousness and taking responsibility for ourselves and our personal destiny, which is the sixth level. The seventh level, the tone of B. The seventh level is the wanting to help and teach others of what we have discovered. This level must be open for one to be a true spiritual teacher. Many who are teaching have not progressed to this point of opening the heart chakra, and therefore are not considered qualified spiritual teachers by those helping planet Earth. The eighth level, the tone of high C. The eighth level is the realization that we are all one, that we are all a part of each other, the shattered energy of our Creator, and brings about unconditional love. Chakra number 5, the throat chakra, tone of G. Thus the animal forms have developed into an upright, almost tailless form that begin to sense their difference from the animals that stayed on all fours. They begin letting others know what they meant by simple grunts and sign language. The sensing of others' thoughts, this ESP so to speak, began fading, and needing a means to communicate, the throat chakra drew the energy bundle from the solar plexus up to the throat, and the fifth chakra came into being. The grunts turned into distinguishable, intelligible sounds that developed quickly into a language. Once there was a language where people could talk to each other, this brought about the growth of the mental body, which was necessary. The first level, the tone of C. The first level of this chakra is communication with those of like vibration. This is not an inherent trait, it is a learned trait still in the human. In other words, it is not part of the animal-based brain. It is a result of the inseminations done by the higher planes. The animal form does not have the refined vocal cords that humans have. This was a gift from our Creator. The second level, a tone of D. The second stage of the throat chakra is the ability to receive back the sounds from others, a link between the ear and the vocal cords. This link is a nerve that runs from the vocal cords to the sensory cells of the brain, the receptors in the ears. For further development of the throat chakra to have any meaning, it had to be heard by others. The third level, the tone of E. The third stage of the throat chakra is that of using the same sounds to mean the same things every time these early humans tried to communicate with each other. This would be similar to a high-pitched squeal if a large animal was spotted, or a low hum if a baby were sleeping, or all sorts of different inflections of a monotone that developed. The fourth level, the tone of F. The fourth stage was that of actually setting these sounds into patterns for the different items of living that these people communicated to each other about. The fifth level, the tone of G. The fifth stage is that of refinement of speech patterns in conjunction with those you are communicating with. In other words, speaking the same language. This was a development of different languages that took place and is still taking place within a certain social group. The sixth level, the tone of A. The sixth stage of the throat chakra is that of being able to sing. This stage is inherent within the throat chakra from the time of the birth of the form, but cannot be accessed until the vibratory rate of the vocal cords has reached the same level as the rest of the chakras on that particular form. The seventh level, the tone of B. Regardless, the seventh stage of the throat chakra is a vibration in the speaking voice that makes it able to penetrate to all those who hear it and hold their attention with what is being said by this voice with this vibration. Jesus had this vibration of the vocal cords. It was due to the high evolution of the human form he entered. The eighth level, the tone of high C. Regardless, this is as far as the throat chakra has progressed in the human. The eighth stage of it is not open on anyone. It has to do with silent communication, direct voice-to-ear communication of exact language. The sixth chakra, the third eye chakra, the tone of A. The first stage of the sixth chakra was an actual vision that the early forms had, the first forms that were born after the separation from the animals took place. The higher genes that were inseminated caused an inner eye to form that was a transforming of the antenna on certain animals. It formed an inner antenna, which is what the third eye really is. The misuse of the third eye developed due partly to man's deviousness and cunning and manipulation. When they wanted to know what others were thinking so they could manipulate them or beat them in inventing something, they used their imagination to visualize what the other was thinking, trying to second-guess the other. The first level, the tone of C. The first stage of the sixth chakra, then, was the actual vision with the human eyes shut. These early forms had the ability to see whatever was in their path at night or with their eyes closed during the day. Those who are born blind today revert to this ability as a matter of instinct. They sense these objects but do not see them clearly. The early forms were able to see them clearly. The second level, the tone of D. The second stage of this chakra was the ability to see into the thoughts of other humans. It was closely associated, and still is, with the human eyes. The expression that was seen in the human eye was a direct reflection of the thoughts of this other one, and the third eye learned to read these thoughts by interpreting the expression in the human eye and listening to the inflection of the vocal sounds this other one was making. The third level, the tone of E. The third stage of this sixth chakra was that of being backed off or shut down due to the development of speech and disuse of the inner vision for safety with the civilization of the human. Fires at night made it unnecessary to use the inner vision when a torch could light the way. The fourth level, tone of F. The fourth stage of this chakra is total disuse. People felt better and more secure using their outer sensory aids, and this chakra fell into disuse. The fifth level, the tone of G. The fifth level of the third eye is a resurgence of inner vision with a focus of the large universe in miniature. This begins as a sensing of colors and patterns of the other planets. The sixth level, the tone of A. The sixth stage is that of the return of being able to read the thoughts of others. The seventh level, the tone of B. The seventh stage is inward vision in microform of events that take place on the other planets. In other words, a miniature vision of the macro-universe. It is as though you have a television set that can be tuned to the other large planets in the universe and a tiny micro-sized television receiver in your forehead. The eighth level, the tone of high C. The eighth stage of this chakra is to be able to take these microvisions and enlarge them into your physical world and see them as the same size as you. This accounts for the visions that people have. Chakra number 7, the crown chakra, tone of B. This seventh chakra was a result of the combining of all the other chakras into one that allows for reaching your inner being, or your God within. This chakra was not reached until the Renaissance period. A few individuals started reaching the ability for inner communication with not just themselves, but also with the conglomerate that was in charge of guiding planet Earth at that time. This period was that of the master musicians and the great artists. It also incorporated the breaking up of the stronghold of the Catholic Church, the Crusades. All of this activity took place because the crown chakra came into being at that time. It is a relatively new chakra for the human, and many do not have it open any stage of it. The first level, the tone of C. The first stage of the crown chakra is that of being aware that there is an inner part of you, something bigger than what is going on in the daily activity of living. Not all are born with this knowingness, even today. Some acquire it after birth, but very few are born with this stage of the chakra open. The opening of this chakra is usually a result of the development of all the other chakras in a lifetime, and it is normally reached at an older age than all the other chakras. The second level, tone of D. The second stage of the crown chakra is the ability to hear the inner voice, that still small voice within. The third level, a tone of E. The third stage is simply that of using this ability. This is as far as most people progress to in a lifetime. The fourth level, the tone of F. The fourth stage is where they should be progressed to but aren't. This is the use of this ability to contact other dimensions outside of yourself. By this I mean the inner being of others you are associated with. This is not reading their thoughts on a level of daily physical activity. This is a much deeper communication with them, a soul communication, a working together on the inner planes that carries over as a knowingness into the daily life. The fifth level, the tone of G. The fifth level is one of attaining the Christ consciousness, that of knowing beyond a doubt that all are one, and that one is the mind of the Creator. The sixth level, tone of A. The sixth stage is living your life by this knowledge. In channeling, it is the incorporation of the higher thoughts into the animal-based brain of the individual. It will seem more and more like the person's own mind when they are actually channeling. Even the person will not be able to tell quite often that they are channeling. The more subdued the animalistic instincts of the animal-based brain, the more strongly the stream of intelligence can enter. Therein lies the makings of our geniuses. The seventh level, the tone of B. The seventh stage of the crown chakra is that of being a Messiah, a savior for the people who cannot reach this stage. They need to know there is more to their lives than what they experience, and those at the seventh level are prepared to bring them this knowledge. Level 8, tone of high C. The eighth level is that of calm and peacefulness and total acceptance of self and others. When at level 7, waiting to access level 8, sometimes the energy for the eighth level can be described as a whirling around the head or a feeling as though a bird is sitting on your head flapping its wings. When you accept this level or stage and let this energy enter the brain instead of keeping it outside whirling effortlessly around your brain, then will you achieve all that you want. The apex of the mind is the inner part of the crown chakra and is not reached until and unless the crown chakra is open. The apex is, biologically speaking, a thin part of the skull directly on the topmost part of the head when holding the head straight.